Finally, one couple decides the vacation is over. I'm through. I can't stand this no more, and I'm ready to go home. Now, was this the most toxic episode? Okay. Was it just that one couple needed to leave for things to get better? Let's get into it from a therapist perspective right about now. Now, if you are new here, I'm Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. We're over here on my channel. We recap, but also psychoeducate. We discuss all things reality TV, documentaries, movies, all through the lens of your favorite therapist, okay? So make sure, if you have not already, you hit that subscribe, you like, you share this video because it helps and support the channel. And we about to hit 10,000 subs, okay? Now, the lives keep going, okay? Shenanigans keep shenanigan, okay? But we start this episode off with Brandon. Well, let's go back to the beginning, okay? We got to talk about Charlie and old boy, okay? Because she really is ignoring her intuition. She's ignoring her gut, which is telling her something ain't right, but I'm going to just ignore it because you are telling me one thing and your actions kind of match. Now, this is working because some women are used to the bare minimum. He is giving the bare minimum to me. Okay, she is raising a boy into a man. And we saw last episode, he got his little fruit snack. He got his treat for doing the bare minimum. Which is what? Cuddling, having conversations. What have we really seen for him for us to really think that he is worthy of a relationship? He is worthy of the peach, the fruit snacks. Okay? To me, it's really just a man who really is a child. And she is so used to raising children that, just add one more. But over and over again, he shows me that he's really not into her. Her third eye is not working. All right. She's so caught up in the things he is saying, the words, that she's ignoring the actions. Because to me, is he really putting in work to really be in a relationship, to leave with her, to invite this man into your house full of kids? I think sometimes women are so wanting a relationship to work with the man that they ignore the red flags, and those red flags can get their kids in trouble. We've seen that over and over in the news, more and more and more, how these men just get romanticized into this concept of like, I can finally get my kids a father. I'm going to have a husband. I get to be a wife at the cost of your kids. At the cost of your kids. Okay. Now I'm wondering, as much as she's on the phone saying she miss her babies, I just have to start my day every day talking to them. Are you really putting they concerns, they safety, their well-being at the forefront? Because to me, it's not giving. And again, he's just saying, yeah, I want to be with you. You're the one, and I'm worth it. Y'all need to stop falling for that okie doke, the bare minimum. Because men in the past have given you the bare minimum, and because your self-worth ain't where it's supposed to be up here, you settle for the bare minimum, which half of y'all, it ain't even up here. It's really down here, the bare minimum. And you don't recognize that you are worthy of more because you haven't really worked on yourself. And you haven't had male relationships in your life to show you that men can treat you better. And I wonder what you saw growing up. What your mama was doing, who she was with, what your aunties was doing. Do you come from a lineage of single mamas? Okay, so now you have swept up and fell into the same thing. And so Charlie, to me, is like, you try to have another baby, but this time this baby is full grown, and you're going to bring him into your house, be changing his diapers, wiping his butt, just for him to lay in the bed and lay the pipe at night? Think about your kids, because you're not really thinking about your kids, girl. And now Brand apologized to Alicia, and then that's where things get on and cracking. Because Irving starts to talk about how he's over the relationship, and he talk a lot. He really do. But then there's a part of me that's like, is he emotionally intelligent and the men themselves, other men are not? Is he a crybaby? Is he sensitive? There's just so many emotional things going on with him that I'm not quite sure. What is it? Is it all of it? Is it the latter? I hate when people say that. Like, what does that term really even mean? It's the latter. Please don't say that. Because I'm like, in my therapy sessions, I'm like, What does that mean? But we gonna move on. Okay. Now they have a conversation because he's over it. He's ready to go. I'm like, finally, he doing what some of y'all, the rest of y'all need to be doing. It's going home, packing your bags. Okay, going through TSA. All right, pre-check. Now, it was time to let go, y'all. No chemistry. It wasn't giving. They've been arguing since the beginning. All right, it just wasn't. It just wasn't going to make it. It wasn't. They weren't going to make it. It wasn't working. They met with the therapist, and so they have this conversation where they go outside and they're starting to talk. And for a second, I'm like, oh, she's taking it well. She does take a little bit of accountability by apologizing for some of the things she says. But then once again, he talks too much. He's talking too much, and he puts his own foot in his mouth, and he starts to discuss, once he says it's over and he wants to move on and leave, end it there. It should have been done there. But once again, he a chatty catty. He got Pacino. He talks too much. And so then he says, well, God showed me a sign. My ex called me the day before, and that was a sign from God that, now that I think back and reflect, that I wasn't supposed to be here with you. It's like, wait, what? And then from there, it quickly goes down this slippery slope. And it's just like, you should have stopped ahead, okay? And it also made me wonder about, he's living in his truth. He's speaking his piece. But what happens when your piece affects others in a negative way? Like, was that part of the conversation really necessary? Because you got some emotional things going on that you wasn't quite ready to be here either, my brother. Okay, just as much as she have her stuff going on, you do too. All right? And so they have this conversation. Eventually she goes back to old Alicia. Same Alicia. She never changed, so same old person. But for a glimmer there, we saw a little bit of what could be. But he just talked too damn much. Okay? He put his foot in his mouth. Why was it necessary to bring up the whole thing about your ex? Oh, yeah, you want to hurt her. And you want to prove a point, which was unnecessary. So they start to talk about ending things. She calls it toxic. She thanks God that blah, 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 blah. They were both a mess. He looked better a little bit into the very end. Okay? And it was just like, oh my God, like, why are you still talking? Sometimes I need to just end it, but you got to prove a point. You got to be right. In relationships, y'all be trying to be right too much that you put your foot in your mouth and you can't come back from it. Now he goes into the kitchen and then the story changes. It went from his ex calling him to she liked a photo. And then the photo to him meant that she was still interested. And everybody's just kind of laughing at him or trying not to laugh and follow the story because the story does not make sense. And then he's just talking, I think still crying or about to cry. He just came off kind of emotionally unstable. And I didn't want to really say that because I feel like black men should be able to be vulnerable and cry. But it just didn't make sense, y'all. None of it made sense. I'm just like, you should have quit while you were ahead. But you have to keep talking. And for what purpose? I don't know. I feel like he was trying to prove something to the other men that was really unnecessary. That in the end, everyone just laughed at him, which was not great either. But it's just like, ugh. This is not the house to be crying for a man to be crying in. These are not the men who can hold space for you. These are not the men who are emotionally intelligent. It just wasn't that setting. And it just felt like he was so emotionally wrapped up in his ex that he should never been here. Similar to some other people we're going to get into later. But he's another person who emotionally was just not ready. Was still attached to somebody else. And I'm glad they saw they weren't going to work. Because who wants to spend 8-10 years virtually dating someone? Only for it to not work. What you been doing? Okay. So they finally leave. And the couple's going to go out on a comedy improv outing. And it's interesting because Brandon says maybe Alicia and Irving leaving, their negative energy was what was holding the house back. No. It's Kiki having an emotional unavailable. She's emotionally unavailable, and she has a fearful avoidant attachment style. And so a little bit of maybe some disorganized also. Maybe it's more disorganized. Let me know what y'all think her attachment style is. Is it disorganized or more of an avoidant? Okay. But he actually opens up, and I think for the first time I see him hug her. I'm like, oh, you do like her. You do. It's something in there with you guys. You really kind of like her. But of course, Kiki is Kiki. She's emotionally unavailable. She's still caught up on her ex. Okay. And Kiki is a problem. Her behavior is not consistent. And now he wants to show more physical affection. He wants to, I think, really be coupley. But that wall she has up, that avoidance, that hurt, that pain is going to continue to get in the way of their relationship. Now, I need Kiki to come to terms with who she is, where she is. That she has a alcoholism problem. She's still hung up on her ex. She's still grieving. She has some body insecurity, some self-worth issues. All those things have become a third in her dynamic with Brandon. And there's no way that all that stuff can disappear and have them just be two people trying to make a relationship work. Because she's not in a place to acknowledge and admit that she has this stuff to work on. And I think Brandon has his own stuff too, but you could tell that he's trying. And I saw a glimmer in this episode of a man who really wants to be with her, yet her feelings and emotions just are not there. And he wants to have more physical contact. And I wonder for you guys, do you know your partner's love language? When you are being with them, when you are providing love languages, are you providing your own love language to your partner? Or are you giving them the love language that they need and want? Ask yourself, because I think oftentimes in couples therapy, people are really giving their own love language to their partner. And they're wondering why it's not working. It's because you're giving what you want back and not what your partner is asking for. Or is it that you never even ask them what their needs are, what their love languages are? How often, for people who are in relationships, do you check in? Do y'all have once a week check-ins where you're just trying to understand and let's sit down, no devices, no TV, no kids, just you and me. And let's maybe get some conversation cards, something to build that emotional intelligence, to build our relationship, to build vulnerability and safety in our relationship. But half of y'all ain't taking the time to do that. Because you're so caught up in your biological clock, getting married, okay? And on the other side, you're caught up in trying to pay bills and raise kids that there's often not time for just you to sit still, be present, and focus on your relationship with the person that you are sitting next to, laying up in the bed next to. But as much as, life is lifing, there's a lot of noise going around us. In order for your relationship to work, you have to put in the work. Just like a car. You got to give it a tune up. You got to check on it. You got to make sure you keep that engine revving for the long term. But often people do not focus on pouring into a relationship, filling it up, make sure you filled up, making sure your partner feels filled up. Check it, boo. Check it. Okay. Now they also get back to the house and they have this messy game. Who has the most secrets? Everybody say Clay and Tati, primarily Clay. And it's interesting because at this point, it seemed like everybody know that Clay got a secret, but Tatiana. And I'm wondering, where's the girl code? Is there girl code because we're not really friends? We're just here sharing a house because nobody has told Tati that they know the secret. Charlie know it. I don't know how many other women know it, but Charlie says most people do know that he had a baby. But I'm wondering at what point, why haven't y'all told her? Where's the girl code? Okay. Do you guys think that they should share that information with Tatiana because she's wasting her time and she's falling more and more in love, with a man who's a liar, a pathological liar at that? Okay. Now, also part of this game was who is the least compatible, and I believe they say Kiki and Brandon, which outside of Alicia and Irving, who else they gonna choose? Because it's just at times there's a lot of push pull, love me, love me, love me. Oh, you too close. from Kiki's part, and Brandon's like, I just want to dote on you, I just want to show you affection, but you have this wall up. And we see scenes of him trying to kiss her, trying to have conversations. And he, to me, is getting a little bit rejected. At first, I didn't really think that he was into her. Now I'm seeing that there are feelings and emotions there, but Kiki's stuff gets in the way. Okay, Kiki's stuff is getting in the way. Now, in addition to that game, let's talk about Todd and Britney. They don't need to be together. They don't need to be together, okay? Now, Britney has this conversation with, I think, one of the other ladies about her own relationship. And she wants to talk to Todd about how he treats her. And to me, Britney comes off as insecure and emotionally unintelligent. Okay, she avoids confrontation. And then she's like, I'm ready to have a conversation. I'm ready to talk to you. Notice how when she was ready, she's like, okay, now I'm going to go talk to him. But to me, I feel like in that conversation, she had her mind and her beliefs made up about him as a person and their relationship. All right. So he starts to, discuss his own needs and his wants. And as soon as he does, she belittles him. And once he also tries to hold her accountable for her actions and the role in the drink thing and their relationship in general. And she avoids it. She doesn't want to hold herself accountable. And I always tell you guys, pay attention to being in a relationship with someone who avoids and cannot hold themselves accountable. And she is one of those people. She's condescending. And I feel like she was already checked out. She was already checked out of his relationship. She's not open to hearing what he has to say about her. Okay. And I want you guys to pay attention. Notice the difference between active listening and just listening. Britney was just listening. She wasn't actively listening. She wasn't going to do anything with the information that would help their relationship, that will help her grow, that will help foster growth in their relationship. She was there because she wanted to say what she wanted to say. I didn't come into this conversation to hear what you had to say. I came here because I wanted to speak my mind and go back inside. So it was a one-sided conversation. And so they also are not going to work. I thought in that conversation, honestly, they were going to end it. And both people were going to go home. But I guess production did a Hail Mary and called her mama and his brother, which was very odd to me. So I'm like, did they call them in as a Hail Mary? I thought we were going to have an episode where all the family came. Maybe that's coming up and they were already at the hotel, so they called them in. It was just a little bit disjointed to me. And her mother was interesting. Britney's mom seems very much like high maintenance. At times, she does seem like she is seeing both sides of, Britney and Todd's relationship. But other times, I'm like, the apple don't fall too far from that tree now. And her saying, and I quote, "My husband impresses me every day." Girl, how long you been married? Okay, that ain't true. I don't know. Is it just me? Impresses you every day, girl. There are days when I'm just like, you get on my nerves. I want to talk to you right now. Okay. So to say he impresses you every day, is that realistic, y'all? Or is she just saying that? And if it is like something she says that she really tries to emphasize in her relationship, is it really, come on now, impresses you every day? So at times I was looking at the mama kind of side-eyeing like, you're not helping your daughter, and I see where she get it from. Okay. She might be 40, but emotionally I feel like she's in her early 20s. Not really ready for this type of relationship. It's just, girl, you embarrassing. You embarrassing, okay? I thought you was going to do better. But you want so much attention. But what are you giving? What are you putting in? Some of y'all want so much attention, but y'all not putting in the work. Y'all not showing up, but you want. Gimme. Give me what I want. But what are you doing to foster health, to foster a healthy foundation, to pour in and make this relationship better? Probably not much. Are you a Britney? Just wanting all of it and not giving. All right. Now, Brandon, in the end, Brandon and Kiki have a conversation and he wants to kiss her. He wants to just be in a relationship with her. show some kind of affection, some common, some things in common, and he try and kiss her, and she ain't trying to have it. And then we see in the confessional, girl. Look at them parts. They clean, right? We see in the confessional, them ask her, "Are you still in love with your ex?" Why y'all gotta ask me that? Come on, why y'all asking me that? Girl, because we know the answer. You're still over there with that other person. All right? When are you going to live in your truth? When are you going to tell it like it is and say that you are still in love with your ex? You wasting Brandon time. Okay? None of y'all need to be together. So many lies. Everybody's selfish. Everyone's coming here for their own. Just like, I want a vacation. I want a break from my kids. Just like, let me relax by the pool until I gotta go back to real life and be a parent. Okay, because a lot of people, they got kids. And once again, like I said at the beginning of this video, what are you pouring into this relationship that you probably aren't pouring into your kids? Okay, why is it okay to bring this stranger and leave with them and have them come to your house when you don't really know them? Y'all been talking online. Y'all never lived together. Y'all haven't really dated. Y'all right now, y'all dating this bubble on this TV show. But y'all not really, it's not going to work. Okay? And the one thing I appreciate about this episode is that we didn't have none of those sexualized exercises. Because y'all know I hate those. I hate those. Okay? So at least they went to the comedy club. But can we see them go to the comedy club and also dinner? Can we see more solo dates? Give me some solo dates, not this cheap group date. Because I see what y'all doing. It's cheaper to have y'all be in a group than go on solo dates. But I want to see more solos. I want to see them get to know each other, even though it's not going to work. So why am I saying I want to see that? You're right? Why am I saying I want to see that when I know it's not going to work? I guess it's just for entertainment purposes, okay? But this episode had a lot of different things that they squeezed into there. They squeezing a lot into these episodes, okay? Just like Ready to Love squeezed a lot into them episodes. But a lot of times it feels disjointed, too fast, and we're not really getting to know the couples. Everybody got issues. It's a lot of toxicity. It ain't working, y'all. It ain't working. Okay, let's just call this the never should have mets. Everybody get on the plane, go back to Spirit Airlines, okay? Get your little duffel bags and go back home. Because it's not going to work, okay? But we on episode, 5? We probably got, 4 or 5 more episodes left. Let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think? Is anybody going to leave together? Or is it just a free vacation to Cali? And then you're going to go back to where you need to go. Okay? And let me tell y'all, this is my last video in this house. I will be moving out of this house tomorrow. All right? My house in Dallas is about to close. I closed this house and sold it to somebody. So I appreciate everyone who has been through these videos with me through this last year or 2 years, making videos in this room, but we are leaving. We are leaving tomorrow, and I appreciate everyone just bearing with me through this little room I've been in. When I get to Dallas in June, I'm at a studio, and then we really gonna get things cracking, okay? But in the meantime, make sure you hit that like, continue to support the channel. We're gonna still make videos throughout May until I officially move to Dallas. But thank you guys for all of your supports. Let me know your thoughts. What shows are you looking forward to in May? And I will check y'all out in the next one. Bye.